Yes, sir.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm very good. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. What time is it where you are?
Uh, th- right now, here it is 9:30 p.m.
9:30. Well, thank you for staying up late to talk with me.
I have been following your videos, and it's really a pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Yeah,
And
I
I was,
really do exist. Yeah.
and I just want to share that I was really inspired by your proactiveness when we connected on LinkedIn and you asked me that can we can have a chat sometime.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to speak with you. Are you thinking of running for office, or but my impression was that you are trying to help candidates who are.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually. So I am also a political consultant based out of India,
Uh-huh.
and I am like I help candidates who run for office.
Mm-hmm.
And just to brief you about myself, I have graduated from IIT Kanpur, which is one of the premier institutes in India. And after that, in the past, I have worked with a political party called Aam Aadmi Party, where I worked as a cephalogist. I predicted like 67 seats, 66 seats to them out of 70, and they got 67 seats in that election.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have appeared on national television, Vision Z News, as again a cephalogist. We did exit poll and opinion poll for them,
Right.
and I think there is some okay. Fine. And then just in Lok Sabha elections 2019, I helped a candidate, Mr. C.R. Patil, who won with the highest margin in India, the Lok Sabha elections.
Uh-huh.
And last year, I authored this book. This is
Oh.
three horrible mistakes which more than 90% politicians make in elections,
Okay.
and how technology can help them.
Uh, of the things that I have written, I think that one that I wrote, The Worst Mistakes Candidates Make,
Yes,
has
yes,
been the most popular thing I ever put together. Is it
absolutely.
every day people are subscribing to that book or going to Amazon to buy it. Uh, so I'm curious about politics where you are. How do candidates running in large jurisdictions disseminate their message? What are your common advertising tools?
Okay, so here they majorly prior to COVID-19, it was majorly one-on-one canvassing. Like they used to go on ground and then interact with people, hold rallies, public rallies, then all kinds of gatherings, small, big gatherings. Then recently, digital uh, media has also become quite a popular tool with regard to reaching out to people here. But like post COVID, uh, it is primarily digital media only which they are using, and little bit I would say that like a month before till a month before there was little uncertainty with regards to new candidates or the aspiring candidates, uh, whether they should campaign or not campaign. But the already established leaders, uh, or the ones who are already elected representatives, they have been on television, or they use their popular social media handles to disseminate the message for common masses.
Mhm. All right. So your common social media tools are what?
Uh, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, like then again Zoom also, like they do live on YouTube using Zoom, Facebook Live, Twitter Live.
Right. Okay. And are you allowed to advertise on Facebook in India?
Yes, Facebook advertising is allowed. Just that, after Cambridge Analytica case, there has been certain restrictions, like Facebook does account verification of candidates who are
Right.
advertising, and there is also a policy that they disclose how much expenditure is done by which candidate on Facebook.
Okay. And
And that is with regard to Google also. I mean, not just Facebook, but this making it public, the public expenditure, advertisement expenditure has become a common practice by all digital platforms.
Any controversy over the use of Facebook ads?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Has the use of Facebook ads become controversial where you are?
So what kind of controversy?
Well, there are those in the United States who love to piss people off with Facebook advertising. And it adds to our division. It doesn't unite us. And they say inflammatory things and what we call race baiting, dividing, inflaming, making people angry because it gets them attention.
Yes, 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 absolutely. It is the same here also. Especially, it has been, I mean, that is the general case. I would say that, all digital platforms have in common that mostly the popularity is measured based on the number of views that one gets.
Right.
So that way, I mean, the more, you use language which is igniting or which is polarizing, those kinds of videos tend to have higher views than the videos which are neutral.
Right, right. Would you bear with me? Somebody has knocked on my door and I need to.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Are you here?
Sorry.
Sorry about that. All right, so you've got this ongoing controversy with how people use Facebook, right?
Yeah.
All right. In major campaigns, do people use a lot of commercial television?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Radio?
So, yes, they use radio, they use YouTube also, then WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, Facebook,
And
SMS.
what about mail?
Mail is not very popular, but I would say increasingly it is starting to get popular.
Mhm.
Like just to put it in terms of with regard to parties, there are two parties, BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. Like BJP, from which Narendra Modi comes, and then Aam Aadmi Party is a new party. It started in 2013, and Arvind Kejriwal is the Chief Minister of Delhi from Aam Aadmi Party. So both these parties, they use emails extensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like they use email marketing. Yeah. but
Okay.
other parties, they don't use. So yeah, definitely those who use, it has advantage over those who don't use, because anyways, as voters, we do look to our mails. Internet penetration has hugely increased after 2012-13, and almost more than 95% households in India today have smartphones, which prior to 2013, that number was somewhere less than 60% or something. Now it's more than 95%.
All right. Does most of your business come to you from referrals, or do you actively market yourself?
So it comes mainly from active, it comes through referrals only, and through digital marketing that I do. Digital marketing and referrals. Means I don't do active marketing in terms of, I do definitely, but I majorly meet people whom I am referred.
Right. And I'm kind of the same way. You leave happy clients, they're quick to recommend you to somebody else. Yeah.
Sir, like I want to ask you, what is your age?
What is my niche?
Age.
Age, I'm 65.
65. Oh, I was thinking the same.
But still very healthy and still very active.
Actually, I was going through your profile, and I saw that in your story, you have written that you started as a political consultant at the age of 27. So I was really very inspired reading that, because somewhere I have also started around the same age. And it has been a tough journey. Like for last 7 years now, I am actively working as a political consultant. And in the initial like four to 5 years, it was always from election to election, I had the feeling, should I switch? Should I switch? Am I in the wrong profession? Am I in the wrong profession? So, coming across to you, I really, look up to you that all through these years, you have continued with this profession. So, I really wanted to know, what is it that keeps you going, or were similar kinds of hardships you also faced in your younger days, and what was it that that kept you going?
Oh, I guess the only challenges are that there's some parts of the year where I'm really incredibly busy, and parts of the year when the business is slow. So the challenge is always equaling out your cash flow and being very wise about what you do during the months where you have a lot of it, so that you can continue maintaining your lifestyle in months where it's short. I think the hard lesson I learned is that I once had 13 people on my payroll. And I learned they still want their paycheck even when the months are lean. And I made a decision many years ago that I was going to replace my staff with people that I could call on when I needed them, but I didn't have to pay when I didn't. And I've got a very loyal group of people I call vendors. When I need help with certain things, I know who to call. And the trick is with them, if you go that route, is I always make sure they get paid even if I don't. I've had cases where candidates had trouble paying their bills, but I made sure that my vendors got paid and got paid quickly and got paid without any disputes over what they charged me. And because they know they're going to get paid, they're quick to respond to me if I need help in the middle of the night to fix a problem. I found that a more enjoyable way to live than managing a workforce and being concerned about who said what in the office and having to mitigate the back and forth of personalities and all. I just didn't enjoy that. So I think that was the big change for me, moving from a very high overhead to a much leaner overhead, but having people in good relationships with people that I could rely on when I needed it. So somebody says to me now, I need lists, I know where to go to get my list. If I need the voting history, I know where to go to that. If I need to produce a commercial, I know the guy who has a crew and a camera and all knows exactly what to do with the sound and the lighting. I do all the writing. I think that's what I do best. But just producing words for people, you got to go far beyond that. The words have to go in mail or radio or TV or social media to be of value to them.
That is true.
So I'd say that is something I've seen a lot of political consultants run into financial problems when they took on too much overhead.
True.
Right. I suppose the other unique thing that I did is I've got such a compulsion to share what I know. I don't know of anyone else in the United States that has a YouTube channel that looks quite like mine.
Yeah, true.
And I know my demographic. I can look at the demographics. Most of the people who look at it are under the age of 50.
I didn't get this point of yours.
That most of the people who look at my YouTube channel are under the age of 50.
Okay, 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 okay. So
Right.
you look into analytics also of YouTube.
Well, yeah, but it's a generational divide. Those under 50 grew up with the technology. Those my age did not. So they don't use it the same way.
Yeah, you have
So,
like more than 9,000 followers on YouTube. And your How to Win an Election, that video has, I mean, a very high viewership. Like I
say that
think
again.
it's in millions. I'm, I don't remember exactly, but probably like hundreds of thousands of million, close to a million.
Our elections spend a lot of money.
Actually, those are two videos. One was when I think some 10 years earlier when you were younger. Then one is a recent video also.
I'm curious about what people in India think of our president.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So there are mixed views about him. So there is a youth kind of population which thinks that. So actually, he is a polarizing personality,
Mm-hmm.
and there are intellectuals feel that he should not come to power. Like he is just a salesperson. He does not have a proper understanding into the policies, whereas there is another part who are I would say the right-wing people, the passionate people, pro-business people, and mostly youngsters, they feel that, you know, what he is doing, the way he is standing out and answering people, he is very straightforward, he is very to the point, precise, and he can just, you know, look into their face and answer what he thinks.
Mhm.
So there is a clear divide between the audience as far as he's concerned.
Right. And the coronavirus, what's it done to you?
So we are safe. I mean, as family, we are staying indoors.
Right.
And following all the norms that there is a lockdown, so we are following all the norms. With regard to business, no business is coming for last 2 months. But prior to that, I had this planning of, you know, having 6 months of emergency fund in place. So that way, I am I'm fine in terms of no business as of now. I have also started reaching out more to people. Like I have started interacting with political consultants here in India. Like there is an election which is about to come in Bihar. So I have started networking, I would say, with political consultants on one hand. And on the other, I have started helping candidates as well as youngsters, as well as the youth cadre with like discover the leadership in you, this kind of you know, 1 hour activity program where they get little hands-on training on, you know, becoming confident on at public speaking.
Mhm.
So on those skills building, I'm just helping them as a social service, I would say, and in the process, you know, building up my database also, because these are political workforce. So in future, when they plan to contest, maybe they would come to me. This is what right now I'm doing.
Mhm. Okay. I would very much like to stay in touch with you and learn, you know, democracy is going to continue and there will be elections going forward.
Hmm.
And those people who are putting off the decision to run will someday decide to run, because there will always be a demand for people who do what we do as long as elections are being held.
Yeah.
That's the nice part about this line of work.
Yeah.
So, but do you have a website?
Yes. I do
All right.
have a website.
Can you put it in the chat box?
I will put it. Yeah. This is my personal introduction website.
Okay.
And this is my company's website.
All right. Any predictions on what India will look like in the post-Modi era?
I don't know.
Huh?
I mean, like right now he has just come to power, and his tenure would last till 2024.
Okay.
So there is time.
All right.
I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So I want to know that, do you work just in USA or do you work outside USA as well?
I do get some foreign work.
Okay.
All right. Just finished a campaign in Australia. Uh, I'm working here and there with someone who's running in Romania. I've had people, usually once a week, I'll hear from somebody who wants to run in Africa. Uh, Nothing from Japan. A few are in touch with me from the UK. I never get any traffic out of France. But those are the countries that I do hear from. Things are so doggone corrupt in most countries in Africa that it is really, really hard to work there because most of the people who contact me have been frozen out of the system, and they're so desperate that they're looking for help outside the country because they can't get anywhere inside the country. It's the corruption that goes on in Africa is awful. It is just awful. I think for years it's because those who are elected think they have license to take their share. And the first thing they do when they get there is lock everybody else out. And then they use the money that they have access to keep them locked out. So quite often that's when a transfer of government in Africa has some component of violence because they don't let go of that power very easily. Australia is a very, very clean country. The UK is remarkably advanced with technology and its system and its democracy and its way of doing things. But I'd say 75% of my work comes from within the United States. And of course, that's what I understand best. Anytime I work in a foreign country, there's a pretty sizable learning curve for me.
So, have you worked in India?
No, I have not done anything in India. If I were to work in India, I would need a mentor to help me understand the culture of the country and the way politics work. But there is one constant in any democracy. The most important words said in a campaign are the words the candidate says. It's the words that come out of the candidate's mouth. And even in countries where they got to raise their own money to pay for their campaign, it's the candidate who quite often has to ask for the money from the people who have it. And the ask is an art as well. So when I'd say, can you be useful in any campaign anywhere? My answer is yes, because words are a constant in any democracy. Everybody needs help with their words. But when it comes to technology, every country has its favorite social media channels. Most Americans would not know WhatsApp is. Nobody here would know what WeChat is. If you go to China and you're not on WeChat or WhatsApp, you're nowhere. So, and there are certain restrictions in every country. There's a certain culture of things that you do or you don't do. So, I always know enough if I'm working in a place that I've not been. I always put together a team of people who are really familiar with that culture so that I don't step over the line in some things that I do for a candidate. So That means I help candidates with their speeches, I script their advertising, I help them plan their social media campaigns, I help write their ads. All of that involves the use of words. I also work closely with the candidates because, as I'm sure you've seen, campaigns can be very difficult. Sometimes candidates get a little down, or they get angry, or they start to lose their temper.
Yeah.
And they all need somebody to say, no, don't say that. Yes, say this. Calm down, chill out. We will get this fixed. But you cannot go scream at a TV camera. Not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have any international marketing model? Do you have that?
I don't advertise my YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel does bring in business. Once a week, I try and post a video of some kind once a week. And people look at the videos and they email me, or they'll leave a comment that say, I want to talk. And a lot of new business comes that way. That campaign I did in Australia was somebody who watched some of my YouTube videos and emailed me and said, can we talk? So beyond that, I don't do a lot of marketing. Now, I do get clients, what we call repeat and referral. Happy clients will come back. Happy clients will tell their friends. If you want to run for office, call that guy.
But you do not have an active model, or like franchisee sort of thing, or that mostly you have like direct communication with you. As you said that they email you or they talk to you. I mean, they email you or get in touch with you via comments in your YouTube.
Yeah, or they'll find my email and email me. Somebody that really wants to find me, I'm not that hard to find.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. But let's not underestimate what I said about repeat and referral. I have worked for a lot of people through the years, and I make it a point to stay in touch with them. I'll send them stuff that I read, or it's client management. If you disappear on them, they're going to forget you. If you're in touch with them every 6 months or so, just to say hi, or how you been, how you doing, they remember you. And if ever they see somebody who needs help in their campaign, or they know somebody else who is running,
They will refer you.
it's because a good relationship that you have with a past client or a current client is marketing you don't have to pay for. Yeah.
And how do you do that? Directly getting in touch with them or via?
Oh, I just I keep a list of clients I've had. It's in my phone, and I'll scroll through and I'll look for people I haven't been in touch with in the last 4 or 5 months. Then I'll dream up an excuse to email them and say, hi, how you been? How are things? What's new in your life? I'll just ask them a question, or I'll make reference to the last time we talked. And it's just a way of staying in touch. Even if we don't talk, they know that I care enough to check in with them. So it's a really, really good habit to get into. The other thing I do, almost everybody I've ever worked with is a friend on Facebook. Every time I see somebody on my Facebook page that I know, and of course I got friends I've never heard of, but so do you. But then there are the people you've never heard of who wanted to be your friend, so you just let them in. And then there are those that you know, I mean really know. And every day I check the birthdays. And if it's somebody I know, I put a message. I go to the Facebook Messenger. I don't post it. And I write a personal birthday greeting. And you'd be shocked how much they appreciate that because they know I made the effort. It's just a little way of staying in touch with people. So I'd say at your stage, now, I haven't always done it this way, but I'm much more conscious. It wasn't until I had been in this business for about 10 years that it dawned on me that this was a really, really smart thing to do. So I lost that first 10 years because I didn't. So now would be a good time for you to also develop that habit. And picking up the phone and calling people you've worked with in the past, if they're still in circulation. There's also sources of information. And if they mention so-and-so is running for such and such, sometimes the best question you can ask is, well, do you know them? And if they say yes, hey, could you put us in touch? Because sometimes that can become a source of business.
And do you travel also, like at the client side?
I used to. But this wonderful Zoom technology, most of my coaching is done where I'm sitting from. Now, occasionally I do have to travel for shooting commercials or what have you. I've got to be on site. But we've had campaign meetings on Zoom where we've got 5 or 6 people in a room where we discuss strategy. And it saves them money because they don't have to travel. And I don't have to put up with the crap you have to go through in an airport because, you know, a 1-hour flight right now is actually 4-hour time commitment. By the time you get to the airport early and go through the cavity search and airport security and all of that happy stuff, traveling takes more time than it used to.
Correct.
Yeah. I've got this little tag on my briefcase. I got it from American Airlines. They sent me a tag when I had racked up 2 million miles on American Airlines.
Okay.
And for all I know, they're going to go bankrupt before I cash in all those miles.
You have a very nice sense of humor.
Look, let's stay in touch. And I want to take a look at your websites. I've saved these URLs that you sent me. But keep me posted on what you're up to.
Okay.
And if ever there is a time when you're trying to figure out a problem that you can't quite solve, or you need a little help with something you're trying to do, feel free to give me a ring or shoot me an email and we'll chat.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. You enjoy your evening.
Okay.
All right.
And one thing I want to ask you, do you plan to work in India collaboratively?
I would be open to the idea,
Okay.
but is it something that I'm going to go seek? No. But if someone in India were to approach me and said, is there some role that you could play in this campaign? Yes, I would take that very seriously. I'd never worked in Australia before I worked there, but I now know their system better than I once did. And now if somebody calls me from Australia, I know their system and I know what they're going to need much more quickly than I used to. So introduction to India would take a little bit of a learning curve on my end, but still they're just, like I said, some constants in any democracy. And it starts with the words that candidates say. And that's a product of the political environment. It's a product of their competition. It's a product of their campaign strategy. It's a product of their resources. That affects the words that they say. And that will always be true in any election.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And so, just out of curiosity, like as you said in your videos that you have, for last 4 decades you have worked for presidential elections. So,
Say that again.
like in your videos, you have said that for last 4 decades you have been working for presidential elections.
I have worked in them. Yeah.
You have seen that. So I just, out of curiosity, I want to know, like, to which candidates have you directly worked with?
Well, the major one was back in the 1990s. I did 3 campaigns. Actually, I was involved with 4 back during that period. But the ones that took all the time was Patrick Buchanan, who was the populist of that era. I liked him and because I thought he was prescient in what he was saying about our trade agreements with the rest of the world. He was warning back in the 1990s that the trade agreements were going to hollow out the heartland of America and that the factories would eventually close and the factories eventually shipped overseas because the trade agreements were unfair to American workers. And he won some primaries. He never became the nominee of a major party, but he had a major impact on what we talked about because of what he was saying, other candidates had to address it. And now in hindsight, he was absolutely right about what had happened or what was going to happen. And it's one of the reasons Trump became president. Buchanan warned it would happen before it did. Trump was elected because it did.
And the other 3 candidates with whom you work?
Hmm?
You said like you worked with 4 of them, no?
Yeah.
Who are the other?
Well, 3 of them were the same guy because Buchanan ran in 92, 96, and 2000.
Okay.
But they were different presidential campaigns.
Yeah.
The other was a member of Congress from Colorado. They brought me in to do the television advertising for him in Iowa, which was the first state. And about a week before the Iowa caucuses, he announced that he'd changed his mind about running and wasn't going to run after all. But I was busy with him for 2 months shooting commercials and putting all of that together. until he decided that running for president is not his calling, and he decided to go home. So, but that kept me busy for 1, 2, 3, almost 4 months working with him and shooting his spots.
Actually, I have some more questions. Can I ask them, or if you have to go for some other engagement?
I've got to get ready for another call in about 7 minutes. So we got 7 minutes left.
Okay, so just at one time, like how many candidates do you directly work with?
How many can I at one time?
Yeah.
The most I ever had in one season was 16.
1-6.
1-6. And I did not sleep.
Okay.
I didn't sleep for months. It was like every day starts at 4 and you're lucky to be in bed by midnight. And it's every day, week after week after week, 7 days a week. But I managed to get through it. But I decided I'm not doing that many in one season anymore because I'm not 35 anymore. So this last cycle, I think I had 9. Now, as you know, the ones with the larger the jurisdiction, the more time they take because the more there is to do because the more people they have to reach. In those in smaller jurisdictions where they knock on doors, they don't take as much time. So the bigger they are, the more complicated they are, the more there is to get done.
And your
How
role
many-
majorly is towards their campaign message and with regard to their speech writing, commercials.
Yeah, they all need help with that. But let's say somebody running for governor of a state needs TV, they need radio, they need mail, they need all sorts of social media. And it's a big investment of time. They're going to do statewide debates that they need to be prepared for. They're doing high-risk interviews on television and with newspaper reporters they need help with. They just take an enormous amount of time. Somebody running for mayor in a moderate-sized town, they're only going to have 1 or 2 debates. There's only 1 newspaper. There may not be any TV stations. There may not be any commercials. They may do it simply on Facebook or door-to-door or 2 or 3 pieces of mail. So there's not as much to do there. And their strategies are not as complicated. In a race for U.S. Senate or governor, strategies are very complicated.
Okay. So some other time I will connect with you.
Okay. All right. It's been wonderful talking with you. Please, would you pronounce for me your first name so that I don't screw it up?
Okay, it's Bhaskar Singh. Bhaskar.
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 Ra.
Okay. All right.
You say, then I will say whether it's right or wrong.
Bhaskar.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I got it. Okay. It's been wonderful talking with you.
Same here.
You have a wonderful evening. And please, let's stay in touch.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Have a happy day.
Okay. You do the same. Thank you.